Tym Moss.
Hello, Wendy Stuart.
We are doing the Wednesday dance. Hello, everybody.
Wednesday shuffle.
It's the Wednesday shuffle. It's hump day. And welcome to If These Walls Could Talk. Tym Moss and Wendy Stuart are here to get you over your hump today.
Yes.
I like that. It's like suggestive, right?
We're here for your humping pleasure.
We are here for your humping pleasure. We are here to enlighten you and raise up your spirits and get you thinking, right? Because the more we think, the more we delve into things, and the more we're not as accepting about the things that we hear about that we're like, maybe I should be considering that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
How are you doing? I have to tell you a very funny story. I took some time off Saturday and I was relaxing in Pennsylvania because a friend of mine was having a big birthday party, to do, which was really great. And I got called. I wanted to stay there Monday, but I got called to do this print job, which was really quite cool. We shot in the East Village, but ride with me on this concept. It's a gift box for kids to send to their parents because the art director said to me, so many kids don't visit their parents on the holidays anymore because they're in other parts of the country. Can you believe Tim, I was not aware that this was even going on, but that we're so separated.
Oh, definitely. I know. A lot of my friends, they're all their kids are on one coast and another coast. And
so these boxes are just like highly personalized with warm and fuzzy things in them. Like one box comes with, very cool, a massager. It looks like those glasses you put on, virtual reality glasses, but it's really a massager. And it plays music.
Sweet.
Well, Tim, I loved it. I could just like walk around. It's too bad you can't see out of it. I could see myself walking down 2nd Avenue with that massaging my temples. And another box had a birdhouse in it. They have, of course, a neck thing that you can warm up. And it's just all, I don't know, you know what? It's like empathy, something that we're really lacking. It's stuff to just say, hey, I'm thinking of you. I want you to feel good, right?
I love that concept. That's a great idea.
I know. I think it's the most amazing idea. But it was very, very cool. The only thing that was kind of funny, and there was a coloring book. I'm like, how come there's a coloring book in here? And the photographer who was 10 and the art director who was 11, I'm just joking, said there's a coloring book because, a lot of people's parents, as they get older, might want to color. Okay.
Well, I've heard like coloring has made a kind of a comeback, like for ADHD, like even adults with ADHD.
See, I love this.
That it helps with that. Yeah.
Well, okay.
It's kind of calming. It's kind of a calming thing.
It was calming.
It's an action where you don't have to really think. Got
it. And it came with these beautiful pencils in it as well.
Nice.
Yeah, and it was really great. I colored a little bit too, but this girl's going on a gay party cruise on Sunday, so that's where I'm at. I won't be coloring. Tim, you just got back from the Fringe Festival.
Yes. We took 50 Shades of Icavelli and I took 50 Shades of Gay up to the Rochester Fringe Festival, which is a huge Fringe Festival.
Huge.
I think from what I've heard, or what somebody was saying, I don't know how true this is, that it's the second largest only to Edinburgh.
Oh my God.
Largest Fringe Festival. It's huge. And we always have such a wonderful time there. And this time was no exception. Our Friday night show, I would say, Ike and I were saying, is probably one of our best audiences ever.
Really?
It was incredible. They were so on and so engaged and having such a good time. And they got up and danced while I was singing. And it was wonderful.
Wow.
Wonderful times.
Wow. So it makes me wonder, right? With such an impactful negative week that we had in terms of news stories, you guys put 50 Shades of Gay out there and people just embraced it.
Oh God. Yeah. Everybody had a ball. Everybody.
Isn't that what we're supposed to do as entertainers?
Yes, exactly. And we also reconnected with our dear friend Vivian Darling. She was the drag queen.
Oh yeah. I love Vivian.
We got to spend the weekend with her, which was so much fun. So
right. A weekend. I love that. A weekend with Vivian Darling. That's just so Over the top. Well, speaking of over the top, I hear it's mostly sold out, but you can probably watch from the outskirts. If you go over to Little Island on the far end of Manhattan, they're presenting a Charles Ludlam play. They're calling it Gallus. It's based on Maria Callas. You can only women playing men's parts, men playing women parts.
Oh my goodness.
It's so over the top. I died. I absolutely died. It is one of the funniest things I've seen in a long time, and so beautifully performed. You know, Charles Ludlam is not easy work to do. You know that it's very rapid fire speech, like O'Mary. You know, you got to be. These actors were incredible, and not only that, two of the actors in there, especially the lead, were professional opera singers, like voices like you can't, but having to sing like women. Well, one was a woman, but the other one was, it was just amazing. So that's going to be playing there for a little bit on Little Island. Highly, highly recommend it. You know how I know something's good? My face hurts that I laughed so hard.
Yeah, right, exactly. Last week I went to the Stonewall CDC had a fundraiser downtown, which was wonderful. It was
on a rooftop.
Or yes, it was down in Tribeca. Yeah,
I couldn't go. Tell me about it.
Beautiful. They were honoring Brad. I can't think of his last name. I know him. I've met him a couple times. He's the new Manhattan borough president.
Right. Fabulous.
And I just met so many wonderful, incredible people.
Right, and Paul Nagel spearheads that whole thing, and it broke my heart that I couldn't go. Did they have entertainment?
I had to leave about the time because the show got started late. But no, I think they didn't have entertainment. I think it was just the awards or the ceremony.
They did awards.
Politicians. But there was something else I did. Oh, I'm also doing a project which is called Transcend. It's for the trans and gender nonconforming communities. And what it is body mapping. And we're in the beginning stages of that, which is going to start on October 12th, I think.
Wow.
It's a 12-week process of creating this art. And there will be 10 artists. And so if you know any artists, we've still got a couple of spots open. If you can send me. Send me something specific. Perfect. And I have a question. Tell me what body mapping is. Body mapping. It's really interesting. The curator, Cheryl Paley, a good friend of mine, she's the one that had decided that that's what she wanted to do. It's basically what they do is it's a full-sized outline of each person's body. Wow. They can pose however they want to, and then they fill it over the course of 12 weeks. There is a psychological factor where they kind of go back through their life and recreate in different portions of the body. Like it might have the heart space. So something that was beautiful and wonderful and felt good, that's what will go in the heart space. And throughout the end of the 12 weeks, the entire body will tell their life story.
Oh, I think that's really brilliant.
It'll come from anything from trauma to beauty to accomplishments to pain to this, it's really fascinating. It's fascinating. It's therapeutic. It's something that I think every one of these trans artists need right now.
Oh I think it's so amazing. Thank you, Tim. And yes, send me all your information on it.
Sure.
Well, speaking of therapeutic, our guest today has a show at Pangea the 18th and the 20th, and already had my curiosity. The show is called Patient 13. All right. Our guest is a storyteller, a stand-up, a background in improvisation, a coach, an actor, a writer, and even a lawyer. Can you imagine all of that? But you know what? She is here to tell us why the show is called Patient 13, and wait till you hear why. Please put your hands together for Gail Thomas. Come on in.
Hey.
Come on in.
Hi, Gail.
Hi. And by the way, she has a fabulous voice because she's also a voiceover artist. My gosh, you do it all.
It's tiring.
It's tiring. But to wear so many hats. But you're in a show where we embrace so many hats here. We really do.
Absolutely.
But this is exciting. I love having people on when they have a show at Pangea, and you're going to be here the 18th and the 20th.
Yeah, tomorrow night, the 30th.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry, tomorrow night, the Thursday, the
18th, and then Saturday
the 20th.
And it's 7:00, but arrive at 6:00.
Yes, so you can get your food and drink order.
Food and drink order, very, very important. We have amazing food here. Patient 13.
Yeah, we had our first show last week. We got a 5-star review.
I know that you did.
Yes,
right.
So that's good stuff.
Right.
2 more shows left.
There, 2 more. Yeah, only
excited.
2. I'm trying to come Saturday night. It's on, and I'm trying to bring some friends with me.
Get your tickets because we might sell out.
You probably will. Patient 13. What made you Patient 13? Now I got to open up that box.
Yes. So I'm Patient 13 because I was fortunate, honored, privileged to be patient 13 out of 29, participating in an FDA-approved study that gave psilocybin magic mushrooms to cancer survivors with anxiety and depression.
Wow. It's brilliant. Yeah.
And it was something that changed my life. And it's the show is really, there's something for everyone because it really has a relationship component. And then there's me finding out that I have cancer and making all the decisions that one has to make.
Stuff.
Yeah. And it's a fairly short time period, fortunately, but the culmination is the fact that I was able to participate in this study, which really did help me sort of integrate those traumatic experiences and move forward with positivity in a wider frame. I had never done any kind of psychedelic before. And so
as opposed to me,
I mean, my friends had all done it and I had been afraid of it because I was like, I already have
it's a loss of control too.
Well, and I was very cautious because I was pretty conservative when I was younger. And I also already had like a very active imagination. So I was afraid I'd be one of those people that thought
freak out.
Right.
But it was I had, they offered, it was through NYU, which now has a department of psychedelic studies, but I was early on before they had that department. So I really feel like, as part of an opportunity to help move this very valuable treatment forward. But I had therapy. I was watched the whole time. I was tripping. They had a special pill designed they weighed me. It was curated for my own body type.
Right.
And
so it was in a pill form?
It was in a pill form.
So it's mushrooms.
It was synthetic. It was actually a synthetic. I couldn't tell you how they developed it, but I'm sure there's lots of articles. There's 2 studies that are based on my experience. One of them, it's like all about me. They call me Erin. It's Gail.
It's number 13, really.
Yeah, exactly. And that's funny you should say that because when I was writing the show, I looked back over some of the forms because there were so many forms to fill out. And I noticed at the top of the form, it said patient number 13. That was my name because it's an anonymous study.
Yeah.
And so I thought, that's a good title because it's here to name a show.
Right.
And so that's the title.
So now run me through this again. Is it like a suicide prevention treatment?
No, it's more for anxiety and depression.
For anxiety and depression.
PTSD trauma. It's trauma.
Kind of expand the mind and the consciousness to overcome that. Is that correct?
Help integrate because I, as a cancer survivor, and interestingly enough, so the study had people who had basically were dying. I had survived. I was not dying, fortunately, but I still had traumatic symptoms from having that diagnosis.
Having been through
the study, and they've done a lot of studies since. Mine was one of the early studies, but they've used psilocybin and MDMA for alcoholism, for depression, for anxiety.
Wow.
So it's not necessarily that you're trying to think about, although it definitely helped me come to terms with death and think about I would say I'm less afraid of death since I did this
because you went through this program.
Yes. And the effects for me lasted for years. The study itself, if I'm to quote the study, it says that 80% of the participants experienced a rapid and immediate decrease in anxiety and depression that lasted for 6 months.
Wow.
And for me,
is there a method that they follow, or is it different for each patient?
Well, I would say, it came with therapy. We had therapy before the dosing. They called it the dosing.
Right.
And we had therapy after the dosing to integrate. So that's part of it. It was not just and they watched me like I said, there were lots of forms to fill out. They stayed in touch with me for years. The doctor
that's amazing.
we actually had a talk back last week with the doctor who facilitated the study. He came.
Oh my God, that's wonderful.
And I think some of his office is going to come this coming Thursday and maybe Saturday as well, because NYU showed, now that they know about my show,
Of course,
they're
yeah,
actually
this is
sending
great.
people from the cancer center
Yeah,
and
to
from
come
the
see
site
this show.
to see the show.
How long
Nice.
ago did you do this program?
Actually, 2012.
Right.
It's been a
That's
long
when they
time.
first started. So there's the American Psychedelic Institute now, and maybe I'm messing the name up, but I met the people from there. It is about, they're using LSD in that one. It's microdosing.
I was going to say, microdosing.
It's microdose. What's so successful about this, and Gail brought this up, you are watched. People's biggest fears, right?
Right.
Is that they're going to freak out. I know people
So
here.
the fear is you're going to have a bad trip and not be able to
bad
get out.
trip and not return from it. There are a
Right.
lot of there are people here giving, I'm going to say it wrong, ayahuasca. Thank you very much. Ayahuasca. I actually went down into the Amazon and did that.
Yeah.
You're not looked over the same way. And my biggest fear was, what if I like rip my clothes off and go running through the jungle and no one ever sees me again? Because you're not really being monitored the same way.
And that's why I'm not advocating for everybody to go do mushrooms and wander around.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Central Park.
To each his own. I mean,
Right.
I actually have done that since, but it was not nearly as successful and helpful. But having the mentorship and the doctors, I mean, they literally prescribed it. I mean, that's the point. Like I think this is a better treatment than antidepressants for some people. I mean, it's like any doctor. I had to qualify for the study.
Yeah, you went through a lot.
There was a lot before they even accepted me. And I think the fact that I hadn't done psychedelics was one of the reasons maybe they accepted me.
I'm not getting in that program.
I wasn't on antidepressants. I mean, you have to be kind of a clean patient.
Well, it's criteria. Right. I know with these studies you had to meet a criteria.
Well, and that's the way they figure out if it works. Because if you're taking other drugs, then they can't isolate whether this drug helped you or not. And this was not a microdose. I mean, the doctor told me for the first time, I think mine was like, I think it might have been close to 20 milligrams. So that's a large amount.
That's
a psychedelic amount. But again, the point was, and I Googled it just this week. It's like these different dosings obviously have different effects. And because they wanted me to basically change my brain chemistry, and I wanted that. And it did. It changed me forever.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. That's what I was going to ask is you had mentioned that in 80% that they do see like almost like immediate. Did you see an
my brain?
Wow, that's amazing.
Right.
But I think it changed the way I think for a positive way.
But how incredible to be able to do that. And why is this not? You realize the amount of people, I'm not talking about hardcore mental illness. I'm talking about everyday Joes. People are freaking depressed.
And this is why my show is important, actually.
Yeah, it is.
Because
really.
The first part, it's really in Act 1, 2, and 3. And Act 1 is me having a dysfunctional relationship, but making do and having fun in my own way, single woman in New York City. Then I get a diagnosis that's very scary, and I have to figure out who I trust, who I don't trust, what do I do, lots of opinions. This has never happened to me before, but I'm funny. And so I make everything, even in my life, I'm like, how do I make this an adventure? How do I make this fun? Even though it's bad news, I'm such a storyteller and I'm such a creative person.
Right. You're a stand-up too. You got to make it funny.
So when something happens, I look for the humor even naturally in my life. And
that is so wonderful.
Same with us.
Come see the show, and you'll see what I think is important about my show that I haven't seen in the documentaries. And Michael Pollan interviewed me. I don't know if you've heard of him.
I have.
He interviewed me for his book and for The Atlantic, and because I was one of the early people, and it was even before he did it. And so the show kind of shows you this real person, like you said, regular Joe. That's why it's not. Because I do think the treatment is not, it has a lot of good uses, and you'll see if you see the show how it affects me, because it's an hour long, but you'll see my before and after, like in a good story.
Right.
You get to see the Act 1, Act 2, Act 3.
Yeah, exactly.
So by the time, and I don't want to give too much away.
No, we don't want. We're no spoilers here. I do think you have hit upon something. I lost my husband with cancer 2 years ago, lung cancer, and he was in his 80s also. So we had all that going on.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing that pissed me off about the hospital, and Tim came to visit him a bunch of times, Alan was terrified, and they did nothing to try and calm that terror.
Right.
I was the one, I'm like, you medicate him up the wazoo till this fear goes away. And I did it, and I yelled and I screamed, and I made sure, because I know the meds that exist, I made sure he was good and drugged.
Yeah.
Because no one should be traumatized, especially you're sick in the hospital with cancer, and now your brain is freaking out, as it should be. They have to, if you're treating the whole person, you must treat their mind.
Well, and this should be part of the choices.
Right.
It's not right for everybody.
Right.
Certainly not.
Right.
But if you're going to give all these antidepressants, all these other drugs,
they're giving it all, right?
Let's give people choices. So it's
I
moving
agree.
forward, and apparently there's been a lot of progress. I mean, I guess Washington State and Colorado, it's legal, and I think. So it's making, and this is, you can read about this, but there's been a lot of progress, and I'm glad that I was part.
Yeah, you're instrumental, and when you get up here,
and I'm glad that I'm glad that you were such a success story of it, of the results. But being a storyteller, tell us a little bit about the story of Gail, because I know you've got like
I have 5 resumes.
The consciousness, the rise in consciousness, but you've had several different consciousness.
Yes, right. I've been searching for
And
consciousness since I was tiny.
Where are you from originally?
I grew up in Oklahoma.
Okay.
My parents are from Texas, and so I was very sheltered Catholic. There's not a lot of Catholics in Oklahoma, but I was one of them. And but always a very creative kid, always very curious and a daydreamer.
And they went along with that, right?
They didn't understand me,
right?
But they loved me.
Odd child.
I mean, they definitely called me odd. I was called odd quite
child.
a lot. But I dreamed of someday living in New York City.
Wow.
I wanted to be an actor, but I became a lawyer first. And
how is that?
Yeah, that's amazing.
Did you like in high school or something? Did you act in high school?
Oh yeah, I was in all the plays in high school.
When did the law
really
come
was when I, pardon me?
When did the law come in?
Yeah. Well, I being in Oklahoma City, I didn't know any if you tell somebody you want to be an actor or even a writer,
they laugh at you, right?
You're a weird
communist.
druggy communist. So, law is interesting, and I think it taught me critical thinking, and it is a liberal art, in my opinion. So,
what kind of law did you study?
Oh my gosh! So I went to University of Tulsa Law School because that was my dad wanted me to stay in state, and he was helping me pay for it.
Tulsa, Oklahoma.
I grew up in Oklahoma City, but I went to University of Tulsa because it was the most out-of-state, in-state school I could find. Yeah. There were people from exotic places like Chicago and St. Louis.
Those big places.
Yeah. So, it was I studied economics in undergrad, and then I went to law school, but I did go to Europe between the two. So I started to expand my mind. I lived in Germany for a while after college, went back to law school. It was sort of a general degree, but I got a job in DC for working in energy regulation of public utilities.
That's a big job.
It's one of the most boring but brainy, very complicated, kind of like engineering. I mean, there were many times I was like, what? But you get a job, you get out of the state.
Yeah, but that's a big job. I know my friend Kelly had that job and stayed with it.
Yeah, that was a
so
huge
much money.
That was a huge springboard for you.
Yeah,
it got me out of Oklahoma. It moved to Washington, D.C.
Yeah,
I started taking improv comedy classes.
That was a ruination, those improv comedy classes.
So I had a double life, lawyer by day, improv comic by night, just to kind of balance things out. Eventually I quit law to act, which of course, it's not like you get a paycheck anyway. Here I am suddenly. But so I really juggled the two for a long time, and quite a long time, just this double life. And after a few years, so DC is where I got my SAG Screen Actors Guild card.
Wow.
Started acting, performed improv comedy every week for 2 years.
And you loved it.
Loved it. Absolutely. And for a long time, I was really kind of regretted going to law school and was kind of angry about the fact that I had to do that first because I didn't know any actors.
And it's hard. It is hard. You had to learn.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But in retrospect now, I would say that critical thinking and the ability, I mean, I never waited tables. I just did law work during the day.
Yeah.
I was the first temp lawyer known to mankind.
So basically you had a law degree to fall back on.
Yes. Yes. And in fact, the funny thing is, one of the law firms I worked for folded, and one of the partners in the firm said, well, at least you can act.
Oh, that's right. Right. That's hilarious. It's so reverse. That's really, at least you have acting to fall back on. I mean, nobody's ever said that.
Today, people ask me what I do, and I'm like, what day are we talking about?
Yeah, right. Right.
I don't practice law much anymore. I mean, I occasionally do a little bit. But now I do content marketing. I'm a speech writer. I worked for Tribeca Film Festival, and I wrote. I wrote speeches for Martin Scorsese.
I love it.
Wow. Robert De Niro, because that's where the stand-up kind of helped. And I mean, because I really think of myself a little more as a writer now. But that's what's nice, of course, about storytelling is you can do both. You take your personal story. You put it on stage, you perform it, you write it, and I coach people to tell their personal stories.
What was the hardest thing for you in the beginning? Because coming from law, I thought you might have been a trial attorney, and then I could see, because there's a lot of trial attorneys that can also be actors, but the kind of law that you did was like, dry and it pays a lot of money. So what was the hardest thing for you to learn initially with storytelling? Because it is really bearing your soul.
It's a great question. And I would say, especially with acting, because, in law, you don't want to show any emotions. You're basically a robot. You're a logic robot, and that's it. And then acting is all about, finding your raw self, crying, getting in touch with those emotions.
And not being afraid for other people to see it.
Exactly. Yeah. So I've made jokes about how I got to make sure I don't cry at the office, but make sure I'm not too objective. Like I have to cry if that's what the character does. I have to find. So it's really that fine tuning of your left, right brain.
Exactly.
And I would say that was when I first started acting, to access those emotions. I mean, I was always a sensitive kid, but this is a double life. And so I think that was just to make sure I remember where I am at any given moment and have the right.
But again, in law, like you said, that is no emotion, unemotional, just thinking. And then when you start to approach acting, which is just the opposite. It's
totally opposite.
Let your emotions out, let your, be free and all of that. That would be very odd, I'm sure.
And one of my early managers in acting told me
the law mentality.
Yes, sorry, excuse me. One of my early managers as an actor told me not to tell people I was a lawyer because she thought they might be intimidated and maybe they wouldn't hire me
and not cast you.
Which who knows? I mean, I actually ended up playing. So I did Beavis and Butthead for a while. That was one of my early acting jobs.
Girl, I love it. Let's just shoot it right out of the bag in the beginning.
Tell us about Beavis and Butthead.
I played a lawyer on Beavis and Butthead.
Yes,
I played the judge, and so we would joke about how I was the best qualified animated.
You were the most. Right.
So and it's been funny because like when I was in acting classes, when I'd see actors play lawyers, they were usually they were more one-dimensional. And I thought, let me show you, lawyers are still people, and obviously characters that are multidimensional are more interesting.
Absolutely.
So I've tried to bring all these things together.
One of the most interesting things about you, though, Gail, your voice, it's modulated. It's got different levels in it. It's extremely clear. And I listen to people's voices because I'm deaf because I live with a parrot. So I have no issue hearing you, but your voice it's a boom and it comes from deep within. That's work for you.
Yeah, I guess so.
It's
right.
I mean,
powerful. I had my theater training, and I mean, what's funny, it is funny, right, to think back on these things, because I used to, when I was little, my sister would bang on the bathroom door because I would be in the bathroom making funny voices and funny voices. Like I'd take my bath and then I'd stand there and go, wow, what do you think about this? And then just voices to myself.
How cool is that, Tim? I love it.
And I do animated, and now I do. I do animation, and I worked on a video game like 2 weeks ago. I can't say the name of it, but nice. I play a very odd, gruff character.
Mhm.
So yeah. I mean,
I'm sure your law came in handy for Law and Order SVU.
Yeah.
I
Wouldn't have
played
gone
a
there.
jury member for that.
Okay.
I was the jury foreman for the Robin Williams episode, the 200th
Wow.
episode.
Wow.
And that was really
How
fun because I got
incredible.
to make eye contact. He represented himself in that episode. And so he looked at the jury. So I was able to, and actually we were in the
You had
makeup
eye
chairs.
contact.
We actually, and we were in the makeup chairs next to each other.
Love it.
Oh,
In
wow.
that episode, he was a very nice man. He had just bought a puppy for a friend of his. Like, how
Aw.
kind is that? So that was a blessing. Yeah, what an
Well,
interesting.
that would have been entertaining makeup session.
Yeah, really, Tim, right?
Oh, he was sweet and kind, and the way same stories. That
my
you hear.
husband knew him. He was funny,
Very, very
lightning fast.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So,
but he struggled with his demons.
Yes.
And I'm going back to the kind of therapy we were talking about here, microdosing or any of those things. If they were using that maybe more broad-based, because there are antidepressants that don't work for everybody.
No, it's so personal. So
it is highly personal, and it really should be tweaked. And I don't think we spend enough time with it. We didn't spend any time with the fact that people got so screwed up from the pandemic, they didn't recover. We're still not talking about it. And life is just going to go on as we make cuts, right, in our health benefits. Now that's going on. What are people supposed to do?
Well, honestly, and I've been having a lot of conversations about this lately. I think it's why storytelling and live performance is more important than ever. Because,
we feel that
we are so disconnected through social media and the internet that if we can get together and tell stories and share, and take time to listen to one another and have it not. And not
Tim and I are right on the same page, right? So, like, as a coach, I give people space. Like, tell me a 5-minute story. I'm not, and so tell me a 10-minute story. Right. I want to see the video because it tells you, it gets your taste buds going for this show.
We have a video from Gail Thomas.
Okay.
Patient 13.
As long as there's somebody that needs to hear the story, then I'll keep telling it. I am the only person who participated in this study, never done the drug before, and is performing a show about this study.
I'm the luckiest unlucky person he's ever met. I have cancer, but I get to do mushrooms.
I had never wanted to do mushrooms before, but I was like, it's an FDA study, it's gonna be safe.
And Dr. M asks me for an intention. My intention is to do the drug. My favorite thing in life is dark comedy, taking the taboo subjects that nobody wants to talk about and finding the humor. People are gonna die, let's talk about it. People are gonna get sick, let's talk about it. Relationships can suck, let's talk about it. But let's find the humor. I don't want to give you false hope. I don't mind false hope. I'll take whatever kind of hope you got.
I think in traumatic situations, everything's heightened. Do you like where your life is? Do you like who's in your life? Do you need to get rid of these people?
I got rid of all the toxic people, and there was no one left.
It's a story about standing up, about self-love, growing, adapting, because we all deal with tough stuff.
I'm too busy to be anxious or depressed. I talked to my yoga teacher who says eat a raw onion every day. You won't have friends, but you won't get cancer.
This can be approved medical treatment, and my participation in this study, or even doing this show, can help bring this possibility to other people who can use it. Then I've done something good.
I'm doing this show to remind me of a time that I was brave.
I'm Gail Thomas. I'd love to see you in my audience. Check below for all the details. See you there.
That would make me want to see the show in a heartbeat. The one thing that comes through for me from here that we didn't talk about, you'd make one hell of a therapist. So in your next incarnation, you just in this little thing, I'm like, oh my God, she hit on that. She hit on that. She hit on that.
Yeah.
This is stuff people need to talk about.
I loved you won't have friends, but or what was it? You won't have any friends, but you won't get cancer.
Exactly.
Right.
Eating an onion every day.
Well, and you got rid of everyone that was toxic.
That's that dark humor that I love so much.
And there's it's throughout. And honestly, I've refined it. That video is from one of the earlier shows. So it's gotten sharper and sharper and sharper.
Yeah.
And
Now,
it's a funny
you
show.
did a film called My BFF, and
Yes.
there's aspects of that in here. Can you talk a little bit about your film? You starred in it, you produced it, you wrote it, and obviously you directed
which is a lot, like
Yeah.
a lot to do all that.
I watched it. It's funny.
It's
It's
silly,
funny.
It's
It
very
is funny.
silly. It's kind of like a little long sketch. Basically, my neighborhood buddies in Brooklyn and I were very creative people. We weren't working a lot, and my friend Jim, who's a cameraman and an editor, I was like, let's just stop partying and make a movie. And
Brilliant.
we had made a joke. My friend Liz had this very old time friend that she'd had for a long time. And I made a joke about, how long have you had this friend? Like I was going to eliminate her, my competition. Because Liz was a new friend, but I felt competitive with her old friend. And she was my BFF, but I wanted to get rid of the old friend. And so it just became this very quirky, weird, like, how am I going to eliminate
triangle?
and nobody had acted in the film except for me. So I had a part for my dog, I had a part for Liz, I had a part, we all used their regular names, and I wrote the parts for what I thought the people could do, because they weren't actors.
Right.
And then I realized, I didn't even realize that I was directing it until I was like, wait, I've got to do something, because people need direction. Even the producing part, because I thought somebody was going to produce it, and then they didn't. But my friend Jim was a cameraman and a wonderful editor.
That's all you needed.
So we threw it together. It's kind of Curb Your Enthusiasm, because I had to, because people changed the lines, and I had to. One scene was supposed to be the end of the movie, but then she didn't really deliver the line the way I wanted her to.
Right.
She changed the line. So I was like, okay, I got to add another scene at the end, and I'm going to be the final actor, because that's the only way I know that the performance is going to be
right.
So it was supposed to be like 3 minutes. It became 11 minutes. I'm very proud of it. It won one audience favorite at the New York Film Festival.
Yeah, it's very Curb Your Enthusiasm.
It's very
the
Curb
guy
Your
who played the
Enthusiasm.
librarian
Oh my
was
God.
hilarious. It was
He's
like,
and that's his personality. He's very droll.
yeah, dry as can be, and just so perfect.
And I knew he would do that.
Yeah.
And we had so much fun. And
Really
so now,
great piece,
and this we
Gail.
had this posse of friends, and now we're all I don't even think anybody lives in New York anymore, hardly.
Wow.
And so now we have this product of our friendship. So not just something we can share with others. So it was, and it was easy. It came together. I spent like $500 on, maybe that actually was like $200. The most expensive thing was the wig. It was a great labor of love.
But it was a really great piece. And
I
was
think
funny.
it's very funny. I think, well, we won the award. I mean, it was, so you can watch that on my YouTube channel.
Yeah,
Love it.
definitely check it out. You certainly, man, have run the gamut in the performance industry, every aspect of it. Is storytelling your favorite thing?
I don't like to limit it, but yes, because it combines everything.
Yeah.
I mean, I think storytelling, like you said, therapy, there's a therapy element.
Yeah.
It forces you to be present in your life. One of the exercises that I give my students is, a day in the life. Like, what happened to you? What's a story that happened to you in the last 24 hours? Like, and if once you start to develop those storytelling skills, your life automatically becomes more interesting, because you're noticing things like even on the subway ride here, I was like, I'm not going to look at my phone. I'm going to look around the subway car and see who interests me. I saw a woman with her fly down. So I actually leaned in and I said XYZ. She didn't know what it meant because she was young. And I said that, examine your zipper. So it was like already and she was really
there was already a story.
So there was already a story, because I didn't look at my phone. So I think that I would say storytelling combines so much.
It's observational. You have to take in your environment.
So it is. It's probably my favorite.
And also just even like the elements of like the cancer, for example, because a journey through cancer, that's very personal.
Yeah.
It's frightening. It's confusing. There's all kinds of emotions there. And the courage that it takes to actually examine that and lay it out for an audience, that takes a lot of courage.
Yes. But the irony is that's the way you heal.
Absolutely.
I remember being in an acting class early in my acting class and seeing this woman go up on stage. It was kind of a method acting class. And she was so constricted, like her whole face, everything was constricted. And then she started telling a personal story and her face relaxed.
She became open.
She started laughing afterwards. So it really is the irony of sharing your pain.
I agree.
But initially, I want to talk about cancer because a number of my friends have it of all different ages. This is what we used to hear, 1 in every 3. I think it's more than that. obviously you're young. You got diagnosed with cancer young. Initially, like what ran through your head? Because you seem to have dealt with all of it in a positive, healing way. But what was your initial? How did you get to your point?
That's a great question, because I didn't start telling the cancer stories for 5 years. And because it is, I think that, the moth likes to say, tell your stories from your scars, not your wounds, because it is, you want to observe your wounds and you want to write about it for yourself. But I think can be too early to share your story, not with yourself. You need to, but yes, no, initially
it's a process. Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly. And there's no need to rush it. But I think I'm a big fan of crying. I don't mind crying when, I was scared. I was petrified, but I also acknowledged the emotions because I had the acting training, and I think that's what's nice about
you had that behind you.
I wasn't as afraid of emotions, so I could say, this is horrible. I'm gonna cry now, and so of course it was scary, and trying to figure out who I could talk to and who I wouldn't.
You were by yourself, right?
I was
at that time single.
I've always been single, and that's I've never been in a
was there did you find a stigma, like certain people's reactions?
Yes, absolutely.
Good. That's good point, Tim. Yeah.
Very different. And that's part of what the show's about. I examine that in the show about who can I trust? Who can I talk to about this? And there's also a point where you don't want to think about it all the time either. So I found different friends. There were certain friends that I would just have fun with them. I didn't talk to them about it. Right. There were people that I could talk to about it. There's people who actually kind of disappeared. There's people who I had to protect myself from. Even the same thing with doctors, with medical staff.
Sure.
So it was a lot of, and it's a crazy thing as a single person. But I think this is true even if you're in a relationship. It's like, how do I deal with this? Because everybody's different. And my process is different than someone else's. I question the doctors. I think because I was a lawyer, I had that side of my brain, and I was more willing to question doctors than probably your typical patient would be.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, you weren't afraid to. Yeah.
No, I wasn't.
My husband's doctor appointments, I had to go with him because Alan was in a parallel universe where whatever the doctor was saying was not what he was hearing, and I needed to know. But I was his rock as he went through it. You had to be your own rock, and that is really incredible.
I had friends. I did have some friends go with me and take notes, and one of the friends came to the show. That's what's been so nice about having this story.
To be able to share that.
I told the shows initially were in Los Angeles, which is where I live now, for the last couple of years. But this was the first show last Thursday that people who went with me to doctor's appointments were in the audience.
I love
my nurse was in the audience. So
I love that.
So New York shows, and I think the same is going to be true of the next couple of shows.
Yeah.
So that's been very full circle.
Yeah. As it should be. It had to really make them feel incredible to see you up there on stage.
Yeah.
Knowing they had been on, we call it the cancer journey.
Absolutely.
Had been on the cancer journey with you. You're going to help a lot of people with this. Really important that this show gets out there, gets videoed in a really professional way.
And the funny thing is, like, initially I thought, well, there's a lot of cancer shows out there. I shouldn't do it. But one of my friends who was one of the first people called, who has had a cancer show called Tough Titties. It's a multi-character show. She's no longer with us. She's amazing, but amazing. Omni Faida Lampley is her name. And she said, oh yeah, everybody gets their cancer show. And I've seen lots of people, and everybody, it's just like a love story. I mean, you know what? There's as much cancer as there is love in the world. I hate to say it, but
that is like, whoa, wow. It might be true. Yeah.
So if there's multiple love stories, then there could be multiple cancer stories. Because everybody gets ill sooner or later. I mean, maybe not. Maybe
and everyone's experience is different too.
And that's right. So there should be no stigma. And I think the more we tell these stories, the more there isn't a stigma.
That's what you're doing. You're getting rid of the stigma. That's what really needs to end.
Like, let's talk about, like I say in the video you showed, is let's talk about these things and not take away the shame. Everybody happens to everybody. I didn't tell people. I mean, at the time I had cancer, I didn't talk about it. I wore a lot of wigs. I didn't tell people. But, once I was comfortable, and that's a personal decision. And I know people who are fighting cancer now, who are also storytellers, and they're telling their stories, and that's important.
Now, the name of the show is Patient 13, starring Gail Thomas, our wonderful guest, and it's at Pangea on Thursday, September 18th, Saturday, September 20th, and what's the final date?
It's the 20th. We only have 2
Yeah.
shows
Oh,
left.
7
oh,
o'clock.
it's
I get here at 6,
Yeah.
so you can order food. Gail, I'm curious, with all that you have behind you and presenting this show, do you have a book planned in the future? You're a writer.
It's
Normal
Yeah.
person, yeah.
no, it's a good.
Or
I thought
film.
about adapting this to a screen. I think this would adapt well to a screenplay because there's so much dialogue.
Right.
So I need to get started on that. But a book makes sense. I thank you for suggesting it.
I thought when I was reading about you, I'm like, oh my God, there's there's so many people putting books out, right? And there's books and there's books. I know a lot of really great authors. This would be a great story to tell,
Yeah, I
because
agree.
you're a storyteller. You can do this.
No, it's true.
You know,
I thank you for saying that. I think I should.
we'll have you back on the show too when you have that.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we totally will. So what do you have planned? You're going to go back to LA after this, and LA for you, you're a New Yorker. I looked at your stand-up about your observation between LA and New York. How is that a adaptation for you? I personally couldn't adapt full-time out there. I could go out for work, but I can't. It's too different for me. I'm too New York.
Well, I like to shake things up. And so I think it's been good as a creative person. I did grow up in Oklahoma, so I've had my driver's license since I was 15.
Yeah.
But I was glad. I was starting to get afraid of driving. I hadn't owned a car in 25 years. So that part's been good. I've met some interesting people, and I think the encouragement I got from, actually, I want to mention Dan Oliverio is my director. And he and my friend John Wookty, when I first got to LA, they were the ones who kind of leaned on me, actually forced me to do the one-person show.
Wow.
And Dan's guidance and wisdom as a director, as a dramaturg, he's amazing. You can follow him on Instagram. Talk About Fat is the name of his Instagram. He's somebody you should interview next time he's in town. He
would love to just have him get in
have
touch
him
with us.
get in
Yeah,
touch
we'll
with
definitely
you.
put him on.
He,
Yeah, sounds great.
So I think going to LA kind of gave me a moment to step back and realize that I should write this show. And I had that kind of support. And because it's a little slower pace, I think it did slow me down. So I think it's given me a creative sort of restart, and now I'm doing more stand-up again.
Good.
Creative restart. I like that. Yeah,
So,
you lit an ignition by doing
just
that.
having a new, and then my apartment's nicer than any apartment I ever had in New York. So
Nice.
I spend a lot of time in New York. I have a lot of friends here. I who knows where I'll go next, but I am working on some new material, a new show, new stand-up.
Love it.
But I visited New York 3 times this year, and so I'm kind of bi-coastal, I guess you could say. So I will never let go of this town, and I'm going to slow down and go see my mom.
Yeah, I was going to say, are your parents still here?
My dad is gone, and my new show will talk about dad and family more because they're Republicans and I'm not. Yeah. And I think there's some interesting stories there about our understanding and how we've evolved in our mom is still around.
My mom was a Republican, hardcore Republican. My dad was a very left Democrat.
Oh, interesting.
It's interesting.
And I think those are stories that we need to spend some time on.
I agree.
Because it's got to do with perspective and different values.
I mean, these are people I love, but we have but so I want to try to find those places to heal. Because I did, I grew up in Oklahoma and I couldn't wait to get to New York. But I think art is healing and comedy is healing. Yeah. So I'm going to work on some of that stuff. Mom is in assisted living and she's slowing down big time. So I'm going to go spend some time with her the first part of October,
which is a smart thing to do.
And I'll be writing.
I was going to say, so Gail knows you need to. I've told a lot of people this. If you want to tell those stories, you need to start extracting them.
Yeah, absolutely. Go sit down. Sit down, ask questions, write it down.
It can change on a dime. And if you don't have that journal with everything written in it, because so many people are like, oh, I wish I had. You're smart enough because you are a storyteller. Do it, absolutely do it.
And record.
And you can do recording as well. We talked about being alone through everything. What do you look for in a relationship?
Great question. Sense of humor. Kindness. I mean, kindness is such a big thing now, and empathy. And actually, I think to be honest, one of the reasons I had a hard time finding love is I think I didn't trust that not that my family didn't support me, but they didn't understand me. And I am so quirky that I do need somebody who understands a little bit about what it means to be a creative and how it is an odd thing to do, and how, sometimes the shower and the walk in the park is part of the creative process. And it doesn't mean I'm being lazy. It means
it's part of it.
Integrating these things.
Well, you're feeding. You said something that I read. The things that you like to do: travel amongst it, painting, whatever, and sitting on the couch. I'm like, yes,
integrate it.
Yeah, and right, to integrate it all. There is something, and believe it or not, and I never stop moving. That couch time, if you're a creative person, is very, very important.
Yes.
To be able, I call it sitting in the corner of the couch. Someone will say, "Do you want to come out?" I go, "No, I'm in the corner of the couch."
And
perfectly okay.
Right. And to sort of let it settle. But
it's okay to be in the corner of the couch.
And frankly, there's a part of my show where I talk about how cancer slowed me down. And that was also a good little lesson to So, it's all part of it, right? Because life is short. And so since we're artists, we get to integrate these things as we go.
Right. It is short. And like, I can't get enough of it. I want to live it to its fullest. And I do it.
Clearly.
It's not things
you are clearly
that I'm waiting to
No.
do. I do want to now travel more. I'm working on arranging things so I can do that. But but I do believe we get other go-arounds besides this one.
I do too.
But having not experienced it
that.
myself, there's always that little doubt. Oops, what if I don't come back, or if I come back as a cow?
Yeah. I've made jokes that I believe in past lives and future lives.
Yeah.
But I also want to be careful not to use it as procrastination. It's like,
I'll
do that in my next. I'll do it in my next life.
I've heard people say that. I'll do that in the next time. Now, your dog.
Yes.
My dog too. Oh, yes. Amazing.
Desi has her own Instagram.
Can you tell us about Desi?
Yes, Desi's I'm not totally alone.
I know
Desi.
you're not.
And I have friends. I mean, I'm very supportive friends.
Course.
Lots of
It sounds like
friends.
you have a good network.
I have a great network. I make friends easily.
You got rid of the toxic ones and made room, right?
Yeah,
we know this, Tim.
But it's also learning how to modulate the friends, right? Like, how do you, which ones work, and how do I talk to my friends, and how do I become a better friend? And so it's complicated. But Desi is I think she's almost 6. She's from Puerto Rico.
Wow.
She was in a hoarder situation. Her original name was number 16.
Wow.
Oh, that's so, my God, and number 13 and number 16.
Yes, that's right. We have a lot of numbers, but she's Desi. She travels with me. She's on the Upper West Side now. She's been to Denver and LA and New York.
Wow.
And she's very different than my last dog, and it took me a while to fall for her because I kept comparing her.
Yeah,
so I have stories
they
about
all
that.
have their own.
But she's very sweet, and I don't know how to describe her. She's sweet. She's just she's a little cautious, which is so a new street to her is like, oh, wait a minute, which is
that like you?
No.
No,
I'm like, give me a new
you
street.
Just go give me a new street. I'm ready for
so
it.
This is the thing we've had to find. We've had to find, and my first dog was any new street he would. But Desi's faster because she's younger, so she has the zoomies. But she's I still haven't figured her out, honestly.
Right.
But we're enjoying our journey together.
Good.
Animals are everything. Mr. Nugget. He's 8, and I wake up with his arms around my neck. And people are like, after Alan passed away, it's been 2 years. People are like, are you going out with anyone? I'm like, there's no time. I have Nugget. I wake up with those 2 paws around my neck in the morning. You can't imagine what that's like. And when I open my eyes, he's staring at me because the most incredible thing has happened. Me, who he loves unconditionally, has opened her eyes, and he can start his day with me. Isn't it amazing?
That is wonderful.
It's amazing. They make such a difference in our lives. Well, Tim, can you do me the honors of the comments? I forgot my reading glasses.
Sure. Yeah, we've had a couple of comments here. Our dear friend Suze Vivero.
Oh, we love her.
Genero from Massachusetts. She's a fashion designer.
She
says, hello, dolls. And also says, wow, tell your story from your scars, not your wounds. Profound. That was very profound.
And Suze is a big animal person.
Yes. And also our dear friend Rose Trentman.
Hey, Rose.
Was commenting about the Fringe Festival. Said, I was at the Fringe Festival in Scotland.
She was.
It was an amazing, awesome experience. And she also says, that sounds extremely exciting, her show at Pangea. So
Yes, come see it if you
Yeah,
can.
Rosa, that's what I was telling you about for Saturday night that I said I had to get back to you. So if you're still on, it's that show.
But book your tickets because
Right,
we have
right.
the ticket sales have really been picking up, and I don't want you to
Good.
Absolutely.
Good. And once again, the name of the show is Patient 13.
13.
It will be at Pangea Thursday, September 17 or September 18, and Saturday, September 20th.
Yes.
I do like the fact that you emphasize they still stay in touch with you. A lot of these stuff, I was in a number of COVID studies. I was one of the first people to get COVID.
Oh, wow.
Well, I was in a Parkside Lounge the night they were shutting New York
Oh,
down.
my God.
There was no surprise
I
there.
know
4
that.
days later.
I've been there.
Right.
Yes,
They
yes.
canceled the second show. But I did a bunch of these studies. And I think what really pissed me off was there was never any follow through. And the fact that I've had it 6 times. I've been vaccinated 6
Wow.
times. I never get for the first go around. I lost my smell and taste for 8 months. But there's people like me where it's just a little cold. And even with the vaccine, we still get it. So why are they not studying? They should be studying clusters of people, the long-term COVID people, the people where it's like a cold. They should be following them up. And none of that's going on. I don't know.
All I can say is I'm a big fan of NYU.
Yeah.
They
I know. I'm thinking. Yeah.
I don't know. I've heard. I mean, studies are as good as I guess the people who run the study, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I think I was very lucky. Really,
I
really.
think talking about these studies, reading in the Times Magazine section this weekend, and I know not everything that the Times says is totally on the up and up, but a lot of it is. And the whole magazine section was on the funding that's been cut for cancer studies,
Oh, God.
like baby cancers,
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
right? Pediatric cancers.
It's happening younger and younger.
Right,
It's
and
just-
now these
right,
fundings,
right.
It's
yeah,
horrible.
we don't need to, so we'll cut it. We'll just cut it in half. And I'm
It's
reading that,
tragic.
I'm like, aren't people like in other parts of the country like up in arms about this? They're reading this. How could they still hang on to what they believe
Well,
in?
you wonder how bad it's going to have to get.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe people are so desensitized. Maybe it could get that bad, and it'll be, so be it. Maybe it'll just be like
Well,
that.
I don't know. We'll see.
I don't know.
May you live in interesting times.
We live in interesting times, and Gail's going to do another one-person show about all of this. We just need to have a title. It'll come.
And
to
I
us.
like helping people tell. So I have a website, practicalstorytelling.com, which is my coaching base website.
Okay, and you're
Because I do help people and businesses tell their stories. Because that's I enjoy that.
Now,
as
what
much.
was that again? Practical.
Practicalstorytelling.com.
Okay.
practicalstorytelling.com.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Because I enjoy as much as, I'm one person with one perspective. And I think that the more we come together and all share our stories,
Yeah.
I feel like that's the hope.
Right.
But that would also be very satisfying. Help people find their voice or find
Oh my
a way to tell their
absolutely.
story.
It's so gratifying.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Even if I was rich and famous, I think I'd still want to be a storytelling coach to help others tell their stories. And that is like therapy, because you made that point.
Right.
Yeah.
Even watching your face I could have taken the promo for your show and used it as an audition tape for you. Not told anyone that it was about a show.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd like to submit this person for a therapist.
Oh, yeah.
Because it comes to
point.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, we all look at things.
You're
differently.
giving me a lot of good ideas.
I'm good.
So
I'm really good at that.
the next
doing them for myself.
Yes. Well,
the next self-tape that you have to do for a therapist, you've already got it.
there you go.
Yeah,
Thanks, guys.
Tim, right? Right.
you.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
you're gonna be their girl.
You guys are awesome.
You've been totally awesome. I'm very excited that your show is here at Pangea. The shows here are so interesting.
Well,
Yeah.
it's a wonderful place to work.
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying it, and maybe I'll come back one day.
Oh, yeah.
LA?
It's nice to have a home base.
Yes, Pangea is a really wonderful home base, and it's nice that you did 3 runs here too.
Well, I wanted to do 3 shows. I found David Dean Bottrell suggested I talk to Stephen, and I came in April when I was visiting, and I walked in and I was like, oh boy, this feels good.
Oh, it's great.
Yes,
Yes,
right.
It was intimate, and it's an intimate space.
Right.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's nice.
Right. Plus, we also got a gorgeous restaurant and a kick butt bar.
I can't wait. I'm
you
going to hang
can't
out here
wait.
after the show.
And good food, and yeah.
I will
got it all at
see you
Pangea.
Saturday night,
Fantastic.
and Tim, this has just been so enlightening talking to
Exactly.
you.
It's been
Yeah.
wonderful.
It's like a gift. Well, thank you, everybody who tuned in today. We will see you next week.
Yes.
So come back and see us next Wednesday, Hump Day. Wendy and Tim. Be there.
If these walls could talk.
Take care. Bye-bye, everybody.
Gail.